Hello and welcome to the Fishery Fast Lane podcast. I've come up to Lecturelade today to the Carp Society, Horseshoe Lake. We're in the Tim Paisley Lodge and I'm here with Miles to hear all about his career path into fisheries and how the Carp Society was formed. So Miles, how would you summarise your job in the Carp Society?
I'm actually sort of described as a fishery manager, but it's quite funny because when I first joined, fishery manager was never a buzzword like it seems to be today. I actually got the job because I had a bit of commercial background and IT background, so primarily working in the office and the shop sort of thing. The fishery management side of things came about through tragedy, really. We had a fish kill in 2011 and I'd started in November 2009, and the fish kill was sort of pretty devastating, and I thought somebody's got to do something about this, so that's why I started getting involved with the fishery. And then a couple of years later on, a fishery manager seemed to be a buzzword, and that's sort of what we got titled with.
Right, so it was a fishery, before you came to the Carp Society, you were in fishery management?
No.
Before that? What were you doing?
I was working for the local council in the building control and licensing department.
Right.
Which seems a strange marriage, but
yeah,
that's how it works.
When I first sort of heard about the Carp Society, it was, I think, through the Sandown shows, the society was really famous for those shows. I think. Well, when I got there, I remember turning up to the Sandown racecourse, and before that show, fishing for me was just little rods and pissing about on little village ponds and stuff. And that show, to me, sort of blew my mind with the expanse of the carp world at the time. And that would have been probably 15 years ago now. But I think back then, the Horseshoe Lake was a lot different to perhaps what it is today.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was iconic for its big, scaly fish back then. How have you seen the fishery change here at the Horseshoe, where we are today?
Like I hinted on before, when I first joined, everything was going smoothly on the fishery, and no disrespect to the lads involved at the time, there weren't a lot of stuff being done on the lake, primarily because everything were going groovy sort of thing. Yeah. So, and don't fix something that's not broken. Yeah. And then, of course, the fish guild changed everything there. Yeah. Since then, we've done tremendous amounts of work, some of which yourself and Andrew have been involved with, and we just keep evolving it and trying to make it better and better and better sort of thing. But the original, I think Mike Kavanagh was instrumental in buying Horseshoe Lake for the Carp Society. I think that was in the early 90s, maybe 91, I want to say. And they bought it for £250,000.
Right.
And they sold 1,000 tickets at £250 each.
Yeah.
Now, them tickets lasted 10 years.
Right.
But I remember at the time thinking, £250 for a ticket. I wasn't involved with the Carp Society, but I was carp fishing it. Yeah. I thought, wow, that's a bloody fortune. But if you think about it now, £250 for 10 years fishing. it just.
And that's how the society secured the lake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite. And but I think they had to extend the 10-year ticket for a further year because no one had taken into account some tax or something.
Right.
We got in a bit of financial stumps,
yeah.
And they extended it to 11 years. But with them tickets, what you could do, you could buy one, fish for 4 years on Horseshoe, sell your ticket then for more than you actually bought it for 4 years previous, and then that's how nearly every other person that comes through the door now tells me they were an original ticket holder.
Yeah.
So I think they must have sold 500,000 rather. But it's because people were selling them, and sometimes they weren't making a profit on what they bought it for.
Right.
But the Carp Society weren't getting any of that money or anything out of private sales. They were advertising carp or fishing magazines at the time. So.
And what was the cause of the fish kill where pre the restocking sort of
we actually never got to the bottom of it. I've noticed a couple of fish sort of dying, and I was taking them out, and I was saying to people, there's something there's something wrong here. And all we're getting back with, I know we lose a few every year, we lose this and the other. And I thought, nah, there's something wrong, sort of thing. So anyway, I came in one Monday morning and somebody said there's 12 dead fish floating around the lake. I thought, oh, Jesus. So I phoned Steve Bowles up, he came, and me and him went out. And we took 25 dead fish out that day. I mean, some of the proper, like, 30-pound scale is the fish that Horseshoe were renowned for, sort of thing. And then that went on for about 6 months.
Right.
But anyway, when we took these out, these 25 out, I said, look, there's something wrong, we need to get somebody down here. So we phoned CFAS up, and they came and they caught 6 that were still alive and took them away to autopsy them, sort of thing, to find out what had happened. And they phoned us up about a week later and said, oh, we suspect KH3. Oh, Christ. So another week later they phoned up, they said, oh, it's not KH3. We suspect SVC now.
Right.
And then I was kind of half aware of SVC, but I thought I'd better look and see what that involves. And the cure for SVC is to kill everything in the lake and drain the lake. I mean, it's game over for the lake, sort of thing. So that went on for about 2 weeks. Thinking, Christ, this is it. It's, you know, I'd sort of given everything up north and moved down here and throw my lot in down here. And I thought, I know it's a bit selfish when I was thinking about the lake as well. But anyway, then they phoned up about 2 weeks later and said, no, there's no SVC and there's no recognisable disease. So the only thing we can determine is the fish had inflamed internal organs.
Right.
That they never,
Right.
you know, still no wiser.
So that must be when you're going through the stages of recovery, not having an answer of what actually caused that issue. It must sort of hang over you all the time, I guess, with them.
Yeah, certainly it sounded, because I think a lot of people thought you were hiding something, or, you know, and there were a lot of speculation. I mean, there were big news at the time. We were getting pelters off everyone, and as you know yourself, everyone knows better, and they also know it's KHV, and every fish in Gloucestershire has died because of it, and you know, it really went ballistic, and people moved off the lake. We ended up with no members, no thing, hardly any fish in the lake. It was and people in the magazines were writing us off and stuff. It was like game over.
So how did you bounce back from that? What was your sort of strategy to recover from that?
Well, again, the sound of the risk of sounded selfish. Like I said, I'd thrown my lot in down here, and I thought, I don't know if you can swear on here, but I thought, nah, fuck this, I'm not having this sort of thing. So I said to her, sort of, I went to the spa shop, I was reading everything, I was blah, 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 and all this, and then we restocked the lake. I think we put 80 fish in at the first from people, and then Simon. And then the year after that, we put 50 in, and for the following 6 years, we kept putting 50 or 60 in each year. These were only C4s, they were only like 8-10 pound fish, so no bugger wanted to come and fish for them. So there were a few lads that stayed, Andy and Kevin, a few others that stayed, and miraculously we managed to Sabrina and myself managed to keep it going while we had no members, no customers, and we had no money in the bank. And we later found out that the people who were running the Carp Society were hatching a plan to steal it off the members and sell it for their own profit. So all this was going to happen. Jesus Christ, what's going on? So, but yeah, steadily, the fish sort of grew and people got a bit more confidence in the lake, and it started sort of picking up a little bit.
Yeah, well, it seems like, from what I understand from the Horseshoe and the Carp Society, that period that was definitely a period that I noticed of uncertainty, and you could see you were very open with your updates of what was going on in the background, and how it's bounced back today out there. It's all thriving again, and things are sort of, you'd say, as close to as they ever were to.
Yeah, touch wood without bloody wishing anything. Like, them fish have grown on tremendously well. They haven't been fast growers. If you remember, like, this was like 2012, 11 when we first started stocking it.
Right.
And, I bet it took 10 years for one of them to get to 30.
Really, yeah.
And, but of course now there's well over £130 plus fishing
Yeah.
and stuff. Some big I-30s, and I would say the average weight in here is 20 to 25 pounds sort of thing.
Right.
So like, you know, I'm obviously biased, but
Would you say that Horseshoe Lake's in a better position now than it was back when it had that?
million times.
Is it? Yeah, well.
Million times. Yeah, that's no disrespect to anyone who
No, no.
been involved before, but yeah, it's. I mean, just the aesthetics of the place as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's not important to a lot of people, but I take a bit of pride in keeping it, you know, spick and span, and we're always working on. I've got some good lads working with me now that get stuck in and do something, and it's it's a million times better. And we've also got 4 growing on ponds going on.
Yeah.
So we're actually growing our own fish, and that's been, again, without trying to jinx it, that's been so successful that we've been able to give fish to clubs that have suffered fish kills, and so there's a bit of karma going on there. So anyhow, we've been able to help a lot of other clubs out with some good quality fish.
Yeah.
I mean, the fish we're growing on in here, they're all from spawn. Myself and a certain young fella collected from Farriers, if you remember.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to tell with that. Yeah.
Me and Ben went down and collected a load of spawn from Farriers. We'd just dug a pond up by the mountains, put that spawn in there. I remember you covered them up with twigs to keep the birds off it at the time. So I thought, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then left them there, didn't feed them or anything in it, but freshly dug pond. And then the following summer, I walked past it and someone caught me out in that pond. I looked down, I don't know, there must have been 2,000 or 3,000 sort of 3 or 4 inch fish in there.
Yeah.
We've still got, I mean, we've produced thousands from there now
Yeah.
and stuff, so.
I remember when you asked me to do that, and I'd never seen Farriers before, and only sort of heard whispers about it and in the media and things. And obviously, it's renowned for its big commons, and watching them spawn and getting in the shallows in amongst them was quite an experience, having them thrash around. And I remember seeing that one of the mirrors that is quite rare in Farriers. But when did Farriers come into the mix? When did the Carp Society get hold of Farriers?
It must have been probably in the late 90s.
Right.
Brian Sefton, who were and Kiwa Fish Manager at Horseshoe at the time, he secured the lease for Farriers. We don't own Farriers, we lease it to nothing. He got the lease for Farriers, and they were called Diola then. And he got some carp from a farmer's field or a farmer's pond or something like that. And he put them in Farriers. They were only probably £3, £4, £5 at the time. No pedigree or anything, and I think poor Brian got quite a lot of grief for putting them in, and of course he had the last laugh, because we know the stocking in there is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's sort of, and I think why Farriers are so successful, because there's a lot of lakes now with probably the same stamp of fish on as Farriers, you know, 40s and 50s are not.
No, modern day, it's...
10 years ago, when Farriers were throwing them up, it were like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, no one had seen fish in that amount of that size in a lake. So we managed to steal a march on people then, but that's down to Brian, God bless him. He's sadly passed away now, but he was instrumental in getting Farriers up and running. Yeah.
Right. I remember for years, obviously I've worked with Andrew for probably 15 years ago when I first started working with him. I remember driving past with him going on down south to jobs and always looking in, and Andy said, yeah, we'll be in there one day. And now Andrew's a director of the Carp Society, which I think he's very proud of. And I remember Horseshoe Lake, I remember it was probably one of the first movers in fencing, like you had a big perimeter to fence here, and I remember that being like, wow, that's gonna, I can't remember the figure, but the cost of fencing for a site this size, what, 70 acres?
Yeah, the site's probably 80 acres. It's 2 mile round.
Yeah.
I know that because I had to measure it for the fence. Yeah, it's 2 mile of fencing. Yeah.
And what was the impact of otters before the fence went up, would you say?
It weren't as widely known as it is now. People didn't necessarily think they're a problem, but Gloucestershire in particular seemed to be getting predated.
Right.
And if I'm perfectly honest, when I first thought about fencing it, I was 50-50 with the otters and anglers' security, because there were absolutely nothing round the lake. You could just bloody walk in and stuff and everything. And
Yeah.
I suppose coming from an area where crime is rife, I thought, well, no.
Yeah, but you'd left though, then.
Yeah. But it just seemed alien to me that you wouldn't secure your anglers. So anyway, that's by the by. So again, from going down to Sparshow, I met a guy called Dave Marvel who'd just started a company up called Otter Fencing. And I think we were one of the first lakes it did. So when it gave me a price to start off, bear in mind we had no money. And it was quite a few £1,000, and I said to him, look, I've only got £30,000. And bless him, he said, right, I'll do it for you for that. So, so I think at the time he thought it was going to be good publicity for him, because not many lakes had otter fences. People actually, when we were doing it, people thought it was a waste of money.
Really?
Yeah. Why don't we put some more fish in?
Yeah.
But going back to your original question, we had found fish sort of half eaten on the banks and stuff.
Right.
I couldn't swear it were otters, but with hindsight, since we put the fence up, you don't have them problems. So I think we were definitely getting a lot more otter predation than anybody ever thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen any evidence of the otters getting in with the fence up?
No.
Right. That's
No. I did. One morning I came in and I found a big dead one outside the gate.
Really?
I don't know if someone had just oiled it off or what have you. But no, that's the only.
Right.
Touch wood. That's the only.
Because am I right in saying that you went and got the license to be able to capture, trap otters and release?
I did. That were like 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
I think a few guys in the UK Wild Otter Trust or whatever it is, it was becoming obvious by then that otters were a massive problem, sort of thing. So they worked together and tried to find a non-lethal solution to otter problems. So they came up with this, because as you know, otters are just massively protected. You can't do jack with them, you can't do anything. So they came up with this scheme that if some people could get a license to trap them, and but the conditions were just crazy. You could only trap them in a lake that were already otter fenced,
Right.
and adequately otter fenced,
Right.
and you could only drop them over the other side of the fence. So when we got fenced, if we'd have had one in here, I could have dropped it, and all I could have done was thrown it over into Tim's trout fishery next door, sort of thing. But yeah, the license itself, to get the license, the only place they did a course were up in the west coast of Scotland, near Fort William. So I had a 900-mile drive, a 9-hour drive up there. I had a 3-day course up there, paid 450 quid for it, which thankfully the Carp Society paid, and I took this test. But when I got up to the course, I was expecting to see how we trap otters and all this. And the guy who was doing the course was obviously a massive otter fan, and he just told us the history of otters. We went around a few of the locks and saw a few otters and what have you. And then we had this test, and this test were all about the bloody history of otters and stuff like that. Of course, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And the questions were all set out as the answers were double negatives.
Right.
Anyway, that's my
Is it
excuse.
a bias?
That's my excuse for failing it. So therefore I sod it. So they allowed me to take it again, and I studied up a bit more about more like the history and all this crap about otters sort of thing, and took the test again and then passed it. So I have actually got I think there are a few lads up there from the Prince Albert Club in Manchester who took the same test. I think we ended up with about 10 of us got licenses.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the course stopped and nobody else could get an answer. So
Okay.
I think there was some skullduggery behind that, but
Yeah.
this is probably not the podcast. So yeah, sorry about the long-winded answer, but yeah, I've got a license to trap the otters.
So when I come up and deliver, we use a lot of feed in the stock ponds up here, and we always have quite controversial conversations about the state of the industry and stuff. And I knew for a period when it was getting quite worrying for the Carp Society and the upset that was happening within. What was the sort of intricacies of how that sort of came about with what was the upset? Are you allowed to divulge into?
Yeah, I think it's no secret now. The probably what like the Carp Society, you've always had to be a member to fishy and join the Carp Society, and the people running the place at the time sort of cancelled the membership and offered people a cheaper alternative, like a horseshoe passport, they called it, that allowed you to fish here without being a member. But it also took away your right to vote. You could vote if you were a member on any
Right.
issues, but with this alternative, cheaper version, you couldn't vote. Well, most people took the alternative, so membership, although we still had people here, the membership wise was going down, and I thought there was a little something odd here. And as part of the membership, we had about £30,000 a year coming in through standing orders. That they cancelled that. I thought, why would you throw 30 grand in? A lot of people probably didn't even know they still had the standing orders. You know what it's like, you forget you've got something set up in the bank.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're getting 30 grand. I thought, that'd be bizarre sort of thing. So it was on my mind, and by this time Sabrina had started with us, and we used to talk about it here, and since something not quite right here. And then anyway, found an email from one of the people involved at the time, asking an estate agent to discreetly look for offers in the region of £2 million for Horseshoe. Oh, I looked into it a bit more, and it came up, the reason for getting rid of the members was that there was just a little group of people left as members. In the current state of members and arts, no one can sell horseshoe because the members own it, sort of thing, so it's always been safe. But all of a sudden we had, instead of having 2,000 members, we had 6 members.
Right.
That were coming up with some device that were going to make it their ownership and not the members' ownership. So
Right.
anyway, and Sabrina did a bit of sleuthing about and stuff, and we found a few sort of things, and we decided to go to the police. And before we went to the police, we thought we'd better check up and make sure we've got everything right. We're not going mad and imagining things.
Yeah.
So we did for a solicitor's consultation. I went down to see the solicitor. I showed her all these documents and evidence that we had and stuff, and she said, yeah, says, it's quite obvious what they're up to, Miles. Says, the only trouble you've got is it's not illegal. Oh, someone's trying to steal the lake. How do you mean it's not illegal? But the way they'd done it, I think they had a solicitor who were quite helpful.
Right.
And because they'd got rid of the members and stuff, the members could vote. They were the only members, so they could more or less do what they wanted. So,
Right.
So, and the solicitor says you could fight it privately, but it's going to cost you £10,000 plus. So I said, of course, me and Sabrina didn't have that, so we scratched our heads and stuff, and eventually we got in touch with Tim Paisley, who very generously then lent us £20,000 to get a solicitor.
Right.
To see what we could come up with, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And between the solicitor and John Seal, who were a vice president and still is at the time, is an ex-lawyer, they found somewhere that when they'd cancelled everyone's memberships, we had 50 life members, and they'd cancelled their memberships.
Mm.
But in the members and arts, John found a little loophole that you can't cancel a life member's membership.
Okay.
So in our view, we still had 50 live members. And so we sorted out emergency general meeting, and I'm trying to cut the story a bit short. So we had an emergency general meeting that I chaired in the New Inn in Wexford, and we voted to get rid of the people involved and appoint some new people as directors, which included myself, Derek, Greg, Brian Sefferman, who I mentioned earlier, and I think possibly Marsh at that time, or he might come later. But anyway, so we got rid of them, installed new people, and came back here, the old people, the old sort of guys that were trying to do the school do, they turned up, they were a bit of a sector, not anger, and they buggered off. So the next thing, we got a letter from their solicitors taking legal action against us for an illegal takeover, and they were suing us for what would have ended up being in excess of £500,000. Oh. Well, I ain't got a pot to piss into that one. I could have probably ended up in jail, but financially they couldn't do all. But poor Derek and Greg, them lot had houses and stuff. So so then we then had to get a barrister, get a solicitor. Our solicitor then had to get a barrister because it was going to the High Court for this illegal takeover, and the bank account was frozen, so we had no money to pay this barrister sort of thing. And if I tell you, the final bill ended up at more than £120,000. So we set up a fundraising GoFundMe, and Derek had a friend, a chap called Mickey D, who is a bit of a mysterious character, but obviously a nice man, because he got involved in fundraising for us, and we were able to raise money. And like I said, largely due to Mickey D, and we had a lot of independent sort of small donations of £10, £20. But the legal, it's like a game of poker. Right or wrong, absolutely don't come into it. Our barrister were right into theirs and charging us 10 grand. Their barrister were right into ours and charging them whatever. Our barrister were writing back to them, charging 10 grand. So it went tum, 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 tum.
Yeah.
And it went up to, we'd done like 120 grand, and we hadn't even got to court. This went on for like 2 years as well, and all this time you're thinking, I'm in serious shit here if we don't win this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, referring to it as a game of poker, the other team ran out of money, so I had to agree to stop their action against us and a couple of other conditions. And that were it. It were over. No, no right, no wrong, no. It would, it would have had the most money.
Yeah.
And I'd say thanks to some good people, we were. But if we'd have run out of money, this place would have been gone. And
I was going to ask, what would have been the...
this place wouldn't be here, or Farriers near. And
it just tries all this legal stuff. The only people that win are the lawyers, aren't they? And
well, they got 120 grand. It never went to court.
Yeah.
And we had two sleepless years wondering if we were going to go to prison. And it was a freaking nightmare. It really was, yeah.
All of the stuff to do with around, certainly my business with the feed milling and all the stuff, the stuff you have to do that is all legal stuff, and you think life's too short for this. It's like, why has everyone got to be dicks about it?
So Ben, I'm 65 in January, and much as I love this job and stuff, each year this bureaucracy gets more red tape.
Yeah,
and I think I really don't want to deal with these people anymore. I mean, I love working on the lakes. Sometimes it drives you insane.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, it's just all the bullshit that goes on. You just think, fuck off.
I'm Ben Pinniger, and I'm your podcast host. For those of you that don't know me, my business is called BP Milling, where I specialise in producing plant-based pellets for fisheries that break down fast. I farm my own carp entirely on my pellets, and you can see me doing exactly that over on my BP Milling YouTube channel. So if you're enjoying the Fishery Fastlane content and you haven't discovered the BP Milling YouTube channel, then there is loads more content like this where we deep dive on the science behind running fisheries, how to run fisheries in a healthy way, and how I farm my carp. There's loads of video over there of me doing exactly that.
If you're interested in finding out a little bit more about my pellets, we have an online shop where you can purchase the feeds directly, delivered to you in bulk or in single bag quantities at www.bpmilling.co.uk.
I remember you used to have Langholm Lake, wasn't it? What happened with that?
Well, at the beginning of the league, this is actually tied in, at the beginning of the legal battle, we had Langholm that were up on the sort of Doncaster borderway. We had that on lease as well.
Right.
And Steve and his team up there had turned it into a really good lake. They didn't get a lot of support from down here, but the guys up there worked the bloody socks off and turned it into actually a nice lake. And but anyway, we got a letter from the owners saying they were selling it and they were taking sealed bids. You know, the fact that we'd had it bloody 15 years and paid them rent meant nothing to us. But the guy says, I'll tell you what, I'll let you know what the winning bid's going to be. So we thought, oh yeah, happy days. But the bank account at the time was still frozen because of the legal battle, so we had no money in the bank, but well, we don't want to lose it. So he told us 80 grand to sort of buy the lake. So we put a bid in for 85 grand, thinking, yeah, that's all done. We'll work out how we're going to bloody pay it when the matter happens. Anyway, it turns out that somebody else had put an higher bid than us in, so we lost it then. Yeah. But we're just off the fence that as well, so we said, oh, we'll take the fence down and take the fish out. And then the guys that bought it, but actually, I don't know how it came about they bought it, but I went up there, they were all right guys. They've done what they've done sort of thing, but they boxed us off for the fence and the fish and stuff, so that put a bit of money in a Carp Society kit in. This was at a time when, not too long after we still had no customers on here as such.
Right.
So that kept us going. So although it was a bit shitty losing Langholm, it probably financially sorted us out. So.
Right, okay. Yeah. And then bringing us up to sort of more recent times, you've had the acquisition of Ashmead.
Yeah.
How did that sort of come about?
We'd been sort of looking. I've been to see a few lakes sort of thing. I was registered with this estate agent, and he sent us a thing with this lake for sale, and that it turned out it was Ashmead.
Oh, right.
So I spoke to Derek, who was chairman at the time, and he says, yeah, go down and have a look at it sort of thing. And I went down and I thought, yeah, we can do something with this place sort of thing. With a bit of controversy involved later, so I don't want to bloody slur anyone, but it needed work doing on it sort of thing. So, but I could see the potential in it sort of thing. Yeah. So, I came back and reported to Derek, and he reported to the board. We had a board meeting, and we decided to buy that. So, it was a massive investment.
Yeah.
If you think from 2011, we had no customers, no fish, and no money in the bank. And then 10 years later, we've got a lake full of bloody 30-pound fish here, and we would be able to blow the best part of £1 million on a new lake. So you asked if things are better now than they were then.
Oh yeah. Do you think that's do you think there's a change in the growth of the market that's helped with that, or do you think it's just the momentum of the Carp Society building again, recovering from that?
I think it's the Carp Society. I mean, without trying to blow my own trumpet, I mean, Sabrina run it pretty well, and you know, and although the fish have grown, which naturally brings more anglers. We live in we work in the Cotswold Water Park. There's about 300 lakes down here, and they've all got, like I mentioned earlier, they've all got 40, 50-pound fish in there. Yeah. So, although this place has come on lakes, like I alluded to with Farriers, lakes have caught up with us. We had a bit of a jump start on them, but you know yourself how many lakes around here have got mega fish here. So you've got some stiff competition really, and so
I've said it on previous podcasts about how we, as angling, we need to keep up as an industry to make it a viable option for landowners with lakes, but obviously Carp Society secure in the future a little bit better with the purchase of of lakes, but I do feel like if we're up against things like water sports and outdoor swimming, things like that,
Yeah.
we really need to be pulling the punches to fight up.
Oh
to
yeah,
make it.
yeah, and the price of waters is bloody going up. Oh God, say it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's a secret or not, but Ashmead cost us £800,000.
Really? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know that my thoughts when we bought it were like the Carp Society will own it. You know, if it breaks even for 10 years, I'm cool with that. Or if we have to subsidise it a little bit from it, I'm cool with that, because in 10, 15 years' time, whoever sat in this chair,
Yeah.
the Carp Society will own Horseshoe, will own Ashmead, and will own Horseshoe. Believe it or not, we bought this lake 30 years ago and we're still paying for it,
Right.
because successive people who were in charge prior kept bloody borrowing on the strength of it and borrowing on the strength of it.
Right.
The Carp Society shouldn't have to worry about paying any bloody mortgage or rent on it after 30 years, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
What I want to do before I go is have this place boxed off so the Carp Society own it. I mean, I don't think I'll be around when Ashmead is bought off, but there will come a time when the Carp Society own Ashmead and Horseshoe and have no bank loans to pay on it, which then should allow them to grow as long as you get the right people in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so important to get the right people involved in here, because it's basically with a club owned by members. You want to get, as I know from bloody experience, you want to get the wrong people involved, and you're snookered.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You've
if
proven that in the
like,
story.
Harping back to what I say, yes, you need to make sure you've got the right people involved with the right intentions,
Yeah.
and I'm sort of glad to say we have at this time. So.
Yeah, well, that I suppose that's because you have a lot of people involved in the society, don't you, to help steer it, and having trust in people that they're gonna have the right intentions in mind is obviously.
Yeah, it's critical.
Yeah, you carry the scars for that.
Well, exactly, yeah. And just having back on the right people, it's not just the board members; it's the people that help us, the volunteers. I say it in every little. I do a monthly catch-up sort of thing. I say it all the time. You need good volunteers, and without them, you snooker, because financially it won't work, sort of thing. So, Farriers, we've got Rob and his guys will do a great job, and Justin and his team now down at Ashmead.
Yeah,
we've got some good guys here. So, it's a big collective. It's not.
Yeah,
There's certain people that get all the kudos sort of thing, but there's a lot of good people in the Carp site now. And as I was saying, you need them. You buggered now.
Yeah. So with the Ashmead, Horseshoe, and Farriers, how does the management model differ between the three waters that you control?
I mean, like you wanted to listen to Andrew's podcast. Every water's different, isn't it? So each water's got its own bloody obstacles and stuff, and there's a lot of different. I mean, this place is a 60-acre open water. Ashmead is like 17 acres with, I think there's 20 islands on it. Bloody trees all over the place and mad stuff and all of it. So, Ashmead is a clay pit, but all our other lakes are gravel pits, and it wasn't something I'd sort of thought about at the time, but having worked down there for 3 years, there's a massive difference between clay pits and gravel pits.
God.
Yeah. I know it sounds daft, but it never occurred to me, but wow, it's...
Yeah, I think in a lot of our content, because I kind of default to what I know of my clay ponds at the farm, and you forget that gravel pits are actually a completely different ecosystem. There's a different management plan entirely to have the contrast there. But
there's I don't know if it's relevant sort of thing, but the difference for clay pits and gravel pits, like I say, never even occurred to me. And there were a little pond down at Ashmead that were referred to as a growing on pond, but it overgrown and stuff. And I thought, one thing I do know is that I don't like cross-contamination of fish into water, so I thought we need to have some fish from Ashmead growing on in Ashmead to restock it. I really don't want to be chance in putting fish that you don't know into Ashmead, because
Yeah.
they're old fish in there, they're setting away. So, anyway, I thought we need to dig a stock pond out. So, we got a digger in round to where I wanted this stock pond. Started digging these big lumps of clay that won't come out of the bloody digger bucket.
Right.
And while this is going on, this digger's sinking and sinking and sinking into the clay till it were halfway up the driver's doorway. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is a nightmare. So what we had to do, we had to go and chop some trees down. Get the digger driver to do like a wheeler. Wang these tree stumps under the thing just to get him out. So I think, oh man, it was... But again, that's God. Clay had never crossed my mind, sort of thing. I was thinking, but anyway, eventually we got this. The guy who was doing the digger driver, was a builder who could drive a digger, so he did his best. But never got this proper digger driver in, and he creamed it, sort of thing. So yeah, we've got a stock pond growing on now there with some nice fish in it. But,
and that's been like we sort of brushed over a bit quickly earlier on of the stock ponds here. Because when I first came up here with Andrew, I think there was one overgrown pond right at the back of the point of the Horseshoe Lake. Yeah. And now, how many have you got here now?
We've got 4 now.
4.
We've got the lagoon one, the new one on the headland, the mounds one, and the one up the very top.
Yeah.
You and Andrew dug and you fenced out for us.
Yeah. And there's one here that's quite different to the rest, isn't it? Being a raised pond.
Yeah, but the one in the middle is lined.
Yeah.
Because it's above the water table and stuff. And going back to how things are different, that's completely different from the other one.
Yeah.
The other ones, when the fish spawn, we have some that are up 3-year-old, some of the other ponds, and when they spawn, there's never any recruitment.
Right.
That lined one, when they spawn in there and we net it, we end up with bloody thousands and thousands like that. So
yeah.
I don't know, would it lined make a difference?
I think because what they did, didn't they? The liners in layers of soil, didn't they dress it the liner with topsoil?
Yeah, what it is, you put like a membrane sort of thing down first, then you put this like waterproof tarpaulin.
Yeah.
It's got some posh in it and that.
Yeah.
Then you put the membrane on top.
Yeah.
And then put some topsoil back on there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So that if you were just a liner, like some places just have a liner, there's obviously no value to the substrate, which once you've got fish in there, and it's kind of like you've noticed with the lagoon stock pond. When we came in and did that one, it was completely a very eutrophic environment, what I'd call eutrophic, with the amount of weed that's just choking the pond, and actually the whole collapse of the ecosystem when weeds do get overrun, the ponds do get overrun with weed, and really it's just not a fertile environment at all. People look at it and go, oh, look at all that weed, isn't that fertile? But it's actually, as you've seen, is quite the opposite. If you can get the nutrient out the soil, and when the fish reproduce, that environment is really sort of firing, and that's just, you see the recruitment naturally.
But I don't know if you remember, when we did that one, we had like a 25-ton digger and a 10-ton dumper, and we were 3 days taking weed out of that, and they were like lasagna on it, but bloody horrible. I'm surprised anything ever grew in there. It would just,
And you see it now, like it's almost needs more intense management because it's so fertile and the oxygen in there. But you need the fish, the volume of fish in there to keep the weed down. But then you've got the production of ammonia, and then with it being open to light and air, the algae blooms you get in there, and you have oxygen aeration on there as well, don't you? So but yeah, that's having this site enclosed now with the fence and being able to replenish your stocks internally is just the best biosecurity plan that you could have as a fishery, really, and we encourage people to do.
You mentioned the ammonia, funnily enough, the line stopped one now. A couple of fish popped up dead and stuff, and we checked the water thing, and the ammonia levels were bloody through the roof. So we drained the pond down about half and put some fresh water in, and that's brought it back up. But I think this winter, we really need to empty it, lime it, or treat the bottom, because I think now there's like 7 or 8, because it's an enclosed pond. it's like 7 or 8 years worth of
Yeah.
build up on the bottom.
Yeah.
Literally just whatever you call it, sort of thing. So
How does it? How do you get by in like summers like we're having now, where it's been very dry for so long? How often are you topping something like that up?
like I said, a few weeks ago we drained it down half and topped it up, and it's not too bad again at the minute.
Right.
It might want, but we normally take it from the lake.
Yeah.
Of course, the bloody lake's going down in water
Yeah.
level, so you're a bit caught between the devil and the deep blue sea now. I don't want to take any more out of there, but we need them in there, so
Yeah.
I've been doing a few rain dances, but yeah.
And so we've got a good example this weekend of what you're doing for the next generation of anglers coming into the sport, or trying to broaden the reach of angling with the what do you call it this weekend? What's the event called?
Junior Carp Camp.
Junior Carp Camp. And what does that involve?
A brief history would start with, it started years ago. I don't know, probably maybe in the 80s, before they got Horseshoe Lake Carp Society started doing Junior Carp Camp. And we normally have, the last few years, we have 30 youngsters and 15 instructors. Each instructor has 2 youngsters, and we designate them some pegs and they go out there. We have a sort of tick list of things we want the instructors to go through with the juniors. So basically they set up behind the juniors and sit with them all 3 days and 3 nights and go through his checklist, and just generally try and some of the kids that come here are like 12 and 13, they've already got 30 pound fish.
Yeah.
And some of them come here that haven't really caught any fish, so there's
Yeah.
bit of a mixture, so each junior probably needs a different sort of level of teaching.
Yeah.
Some of them can, to be honest, they don't really need a lot of coaching. Some of them are as good as the bloody anglers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's no disrespect to the shooters, but you get some really quality youngsters on here. I've lost count of how many lads that have been on the Junior Carp Camp have gone on to win the British Junior Champ. But it's quite an impressive record. Yeah, it's a lot. And then not only that, I mean, one of the instructors who's just turned up today, this is bloody hell, it's 35 years since I did my first Junior Carp Camp.
Really?
And he came here as a student, a young lad, and now he's come back as a coach. And we have a few lads this year in the same boat. And what we have this year, a few of the lads that have come to a previous carp camps are now like 18, 19.
Yeah.
They're driving. So they're coming up here, and we're sitting in with one of the instructors, and they're learning how to be instructors as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow.
it's a lovely little site.
Yeah, I think it's not only with like events like that, it's not only about encouraging anglers into the sport. I think a lot of it is about encouraging them the disciplines of angling and the correct way to do it. Because if they don't go to things like that and they're brought into it maybe by somebody who's half-assed about fishing and they're chucking litter around and they're not realising the real way, I think as we're sort of future-proofing the disciplines of angling that we want to sort of pass down rather than allowing it to happen naturally.
That's massively important. I mean, it's whether it's right or wrong. At the end of carp camp, I'd rather they went away as better people and better anglers. Mm-hmm. Carp angling now, there's a lot of bloody herberts involved.
Yeah.
And I've been an herbert myself at times, so I'm not disrespecting herberts, but there's a lot of guys who just see it as a piss up and just antisocial sport, and really it should be the quietest, unsociable sport. Should take yourself away and try and catch a fish. But there's a bit of like I said, people do what they want to do, but I don't know.
Do you get some of like all sort of audiences come, and perhaps some that you'd less desirable than others? Do you experience?
Very, very few. We try and run it really well, and 95% of the anglers who get on here are as good as gold. They buy into it. They see what we're up to. The ones that come here that perhaps want to piss up and be round, they'll only ever come once.
Yeah.
And it's not that we shoo them off, but I think they get a feeling that no, this isn't for us, you can't piss about on here.
Yeah.
Not being draconian, but you know what I mean. They're like,
Absolutely.
you know, I think it polices itself in a way
Yeah.
because of the anglers we have on here. Do want to, I mean, we get old blokes coming on their own. They don't want a damn lad pissed and coked up across the road.
No.
Explain bloody whoever's this week's favourite. I'm trying to think of a pop star. I can't think of Storms is probably the last one, I don't know. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not, I mean, I'm all for people doing anything they ever want to do, but not on a fishing lake.
No.
Go to the pub, go to a nightclub, go in a bloody field miles away and blasting music at you.
Is there any ways that you can police or vet the people, members that are perhaps looking to fish the lakes, and how you can sort of pick and choose and steer them to perhaps towards the right venue for them? Or
You can't pick and choose because we're a members' organisation. You know, anyone can join the Carp Society and write this sort of thing. But we don't. Some people have come here and have been proper. Like when they arrived here, you think, Jesus Christ, these guys are going to be a nightmare, and they've turned out to be the nicest blokes.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of buy into it, and they get into it, and they change as people.
Yeah.
You know, they become better people.
Yeah.
And I've been here 15, 16 years now, and I have seen people develop for the better as people.
Yeah.
You know, when they get outside here, a lot of them carry on murdering and killing each other, but when they're here, they're as good in gold, you know, and I'm all right with that, you know, do it.
Yeah.
They don't murder each other, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's it. Like a lot of these fisheries that you shouldn't need rules really, because it should be sort of about attracting the right people that understand what good angling discipline is, but you can't, because obviously you've got all levels of anglers at different stages in their angling journey, if you want to call it that. But so you do need to have a sort of a base level of rules. And with that said, is there any rules that you have was there any that are broken more than others, would you say?
Yeah, probably ones that they don't think we know about, like stitching the swims up and but stuff like that I can do for you. Get on about it, you know, as long as people are arming the fish, arming the fishery, annoying the other anglers.
Yeah.
You know, most things can sort out. Like I said, the guys in here are pretty good. If you go up to them and say, look, you can't really do that here.
Yeah.
Most of them, and they settle down to it and they sort of grow into it.
Yeah.
The ones that don't want to behave, they obviously got enough sense to think, well, no, that's perhaps not for us. We stand out like sore thumbs here, acting like maniacs sort of thing. So if you run it right, it kind of pleases itself.
Yeah.
I'm making it sound easy, but
No.
it's not. But I am pleased that if you talk to people right, you know, don't go over confronting them violent and get you out, because they're properly. That's what they grow up with. They come for. If you kill people with kindness, I say they respond accordingly.
Yeah, no, I think you do a very good job of it from what we've seen up here. And I think I don't want to keep you too long, because I know you've got a lot to with this carp camp to prepare. So we'll sort of round it up here. But yeah, thank you so much for having me to come and record in the Tim Paisley Lodge, and good luck with the weekend. I think it's been really good to bring out the story of the struggles of the Carp Society, and I think a lot of the stuff behind the story of the Carp Society that perhaps isn't highlighted enough with what you've done as yourself and Sabrina to keep it afloat, and the struggles that is pretty unique to the Carp Society, and how it's come out on top at the end of it all ultimately, and stronger, as you alluded to, than it ever was, which back in the day, when we look at it historically, you think, wow, what a venue, is never going to be the same again. But actually we're going into a new chapter now where it is it's beyond that now. So congratulations on all that. Good luck for the carp camp, and thank you for having me.
No worries. But
Cheers,
if I can just add in that although I've been here at sort of the helm of it, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that. But we've had some great people helping us that are involved, and like I say, you couldn't possibly do it. It's nowhere near me about me. You know, we've had some great people. But if I can just finish off this the other day, I don't know if you saw it on the fishery manager's page. There was a guy who must have just bought a new lake, and he's advertising for a manager and duties, this, that, and the other, and all that. And he says, if you're looking for a stress-free life, this is a job for you. And okay, now I mean, I never ever comment on people, but it was only but somebody beat me to it, so I had to leave it.
Very wise.
Stress-free life, you know it.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you.